everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Orange Zeppelin, and today's a little weird. Let's just get that out there. You ever just set a nice plan for yourself for the day? You know exactly what you're gonna do. You're like, I'm gonna do my laundry, I'm gonna clean the sink, I'll make a delicious batch of coffee, what I usually do on Thursdays, and then after I do all my chores, we're gonna relax and play Fallout, enjoy the nice afternoon. Well, and then something will happen that throws things off. And what happened is we have a burst pipe. And so we're having a little bit of plumbing issues right now, namely to the tune of we had to turn the main water off. So laundry has not happened. I cannot make coffee. I don't know how I'm going to survive without my coffee. That's not true. I could literally go to the coffee place down the street, but everything's okay. My dad's fixing something right now, and we got a plumber on the way. But it's just one of those things where something weird has happened, and now the entire day's energy is weird. But that's okay. I'm going to focus on the tasks on my list that have nothing to do with water. One of those was vlogging, which, of course, now that I'm looking at my list of things I plan to do, there's not a lot of things starred. Now, in my defense, I have been working this whole month. I really, really like my job. I mentioned in the previous vlog that I work at our local anime merch, game merch, various cool, awesome things store, and it's super fun. I am super excited and I'm enjoying it. It does take a lot of time that I was normally spending working on art things and other things, and so I'm trying to deal with a little bit of a more tight schedule. I'm balancing all my time between work stuff, housework stuff, trying to keep up with a workout schedule, which hasn't been... I'm not working out as much as I used to, but I'm trying to get a little bit in at least. And then there's like a little bit of time for art. And then there's also studying Gallic, which I try to do every single day. So I'm a little busy, and I am trying to still manage that time really well and not just completely use it on stupid things, which that's what I was doing before, because I feel like I only have so much time to do the 1,000,001 things I want to do. But August, I think I did a decent job with daily sketching. I didn't draw every day, but I have been drawing, because if I'm not drawing, then I'm just gonna go even crazier than I already am, and ain't nobody want to see that. So that is successful. Whoa, awesome Space Babe X. I swear to everything that I hold dear that I am almost done with it. Can I actually show you guys the pages? I did say this was a little more adult take on the Whoa Awesome Space Babe. Well, I can show you this last page that has nothing on it. Yeah, this is the only page where there's just no penciling at all. This is it. I do have the cover that I want to do. I can't show you guys that one either. Can I? That's the cover. Okay, but there are two of these spreads, ultimately 4 pages, that do need to be inked, and then I do have the rest of the penciling, and it is very close. It is almost there. I am a little sick of the project. It's going to be really cool when it's done. After I complete that, I'm gonna need to take a comicking break. This is only part 1 of a full story that I wanted to do. I do have that Beowulf comic that I keep talking about that I just have not had time to. And I think it is a good time to address something that, I mean, some people might have noticed that I haven't posted a Gobliterated comic this whole month. And I'm not saying conclusively that Gobliterated is just finished, but I definitely don't have time to have another comic project going on top of this and on top of everything else I'm doing. So the state of Gobliterated is kind of a big question mark right now. I'm not really sure when I would continue it, if it's going to continue, so I do apologize to the Gobliterated fans who are just at the edge of their seats wondering what's going to happen next in the story. I don't know if I've really had a story going anymore. I think I lost the thread somewhere in the comic. The last comic I did, which I'm going to pop it in here, it kind of is addressing the fact that I've completely moved away from the original concept, which is that this is a band and they are learning to play music completely from scratch, because these are Graka and Ragnar are the kind of guys that talk about making a band and then they don't, and they don't even really know how to play music, but they're just talking about how cool it's going to be, and they're just finally starting to have that fire lit under their ass to actually do it. And one thing that I was always trying to be careful of with the comic, and it has to do with basically how the comic was created. I was doing it for the Hail Yourself metal zine, which used to be a thing in my area. There's some jokes about local music zines not making it past 3 issues, and that's kind of what happened here. Actually, I can even grab you the 3 issues that existed. These are like incredibly well made zines. This isn't just I printed it out on my mom's printer kind of zine, which is what you're kind of getting from me. These are like very professionally made, and the creators did move elsewhere in the nation, and I don't think they've continued on with anything else like this since. But my comic, this is kind of like the early, well, this is literally the earliest Gobliterated comic that exists. It was originally intended to be really in the vein of the comic Beelzebubs, which is awesome, and you should check it out. And one of the concerns that I've always had is I didn't want it to just be Beelzebubs with goblins, because I think it kind of was turning into that. I didn't want it to be too stylistically similar. I really like the clean black and white inking style of those comics. I was trying to do something similar, but not, again, Beelzebubs with goblins. So I was kind of starting to move away from the we're a band and this is a comic about being in a metal band, and it was more of a we're goblin millennials who are failing to launch and navigating a weird world. That kind of ended up being the story. And then there was like the whole Storm plot line that I did at the beginning of the year, mostly because we had an absolutely gigantic storm. Thankfully, I in California did manage to dodge the hurricane that hit us about, well, not us, it was further south that the hurricane was supposed to hit. That was downgraded to, I think, a Category 4 storm, if I remember correctly. But yeah, a hurricane. Thankfully, we avoided that. But where was I going with that? I think the main thing I'm getting to is I'm not sure what the future of Gobliterated is, because I'm not even really sure where I was going with it at that point. I did not have a consistent story that was tying all the strips together. It was kind of whatever came to my head, and there were plenty of times where I was just having a really hard time even coming up with an idea that week. So, Gobliterated is a giant question mark, and I do hope nobody's like super disappointed. I do want to spend my comic making time doing the best that I can, but I definitely need to just take a break from it entirely. So, on that note, what am I going to next? I made a stool. That's not very exciting. Actually, I made 2 stools. I made wooden stools, and they're not super exciting, but I did some woodworking for my little space in the garden where I drink my coffee, where I would drink my coffee if I could make coffee today. Oh, I need to not whine. I can go down to the coffee shop, bring myself some coffee, bring my dad some coffee, because he's doing all the work fixing the plumbing right now. He deserves some coffee. Okay, so that happened. This was not part of my plan, but for a secret private project, I did do a Basil Gogos inspired Chris Chan painting, so that's what I spend my time on. I'm actually really happy with how this turned out. Oh my goodness, Basil Gogos is a really, really cool artist. He's very famous, very well known for his painted covers on the famous Monsters magazine. So if you've ever seen those, that's him. I also, there's two different versions of this same piece. In fact, I'm going to show off this one first. This is something that I drew while I was at work, and I did the markers at home. So what I actually did is, once I had done all of the inking, I then scanned it. I did a printout and I attached that to the cover of my work notebook. So this one was done in markers mostly just to be the color model for this painting, because I felt like my work notebook needed to look significantly cooler, considering how I'm working at the anime store. I must adorn everything in cool art. So I'm very proud of that. There's nothing super exciting. Well, I doodled some Pokemon at work, actually. What's next on this list? I don't know. I feel like I didn't get a lot done. But I have to remember I'm balancing a lot of things. Well, I did some videos. The Hello Kitty coloring book video, that actually took me a while to do. There was a lot of editing involved. I was just working on it a little bit every night. I did completely screw something up. I didn't lose any footage, but VideoPad randomly decided that the footage for something just wasn't in the project, and so I had to re-edit a whole section, and so I was a little grumpy about that, but I got that all finished. I have a second coloring book video that is on the way this month, and I think that is a good time to talk about my plans for September. I'm done looking at the plans for August. August was a little bit of a fail, but I think I just need to plan more intelligently, be aware that I have a lot less time, and I will not drive myself crazy trying to do too many things. So September, because I was talking about videos, I am going to do that second coloring book video. I'm going to do a comic review, and I have some fun ideas with what I'm going to do there. Also, the Art Snacks ink collection is coming sometime this month. I don't know exactly when it will be arriving. I'm going to do the same thing I did last year, where both my mom and I busted that box open and we both tested out a little bit of what was in there, because Art Snacks also is going to have their own, not officially Inktober associated prompt list, but they have their Art Snacks Ink October challenge, whatever it is they call it. They have a prompt list, which that'll be good, because I don't know what I'm doing quite yet for Inktober. That's kind of the last thing I want to think about at the current moment, but I've been doing it for several years, so I will definitely do it again this year. I will definitely do the Inktober roundup where I talk about all my pieces, but that's a can of worms we're going to open in several months from now. We're not going to think about it right now. I don't want to be thinking about it. The main goal for September is just, for the love of all that is good, can I just finish this stupid comic? Can I just open up more time, have that off my plate? I will think about part 2 at some later date. And then I have another piece that I want to actually finish. I think last month I said I had an Odorous Urungus painting I wanted to do, which that is true. I still want to work on him. But there is it's kind of a heavy metal magazine-esque thing that I have sketched out based off of a fitness model that I'm a big fan of. So I want to work on getting this into a finished piece, and that will be my future goals. So I didn't make a lot of goals for September, because I know that random things are going to show up, and I do potentially have a commission coming in this month. It was already discussed in a previous month. It might be showing up this month. So I want to have some open space not overplan. Just please slap me in the face repeatedly if I overplan at all. I need to be realistic about how much time I have on my hands. So that might be it. There's just going to be a couple of videos that I'm making this month. I'm going to finish the damn comic that we're not going to discuss how long it's been in progress. It's really that I just wasn't taking the time to do it because I wanted to work on other things. And right now I kind of feel like I can't work on the other things because this is on the table. So I will be very happy once that's finished. Honestly, I could have just left it unfinished if it's just interrupting my workflow that much, but I don't want to do that, and I also don't want to just never do the part 2. And I know that's kind of the case with, I know it's on my list, my submissions for Feral Comics. My last appearance in Feral Comics ends on a cliffhanger. I didn't get that next piece made, so I am really suffering from my own over planning here. I am experiencing the consequences of my own actions. This is entirely my own fault, but I'm gonna try to be smart and not overdo it in September. So on that note, I'm gonna call it good, and I'm gonna maybe do some work on that actual comic. So thank you guys so much for sticking around and watching me ramble about me suffering the consequences of my own actions. Give a like if you liked the video. Comment, I don't know, comment how much you like my Wes Johnson shirt. It's very beautiful. It's as beautiful as Wes Johnson himself. And I hope you guys have a wonderful time making art. Oh, whoops, I turned that back on.